Your laugh, please give him your attention, listen to him and make some noise for Gary O'Sullivan!
Thank you very much. Oh yeah, Mickey's just out there. Yes, thank you. Look, thanks for coming out. You sound like a fantastic crowd. All I could hear was just this raucous laughter from in there, so that's great. Thanks very much for being here. Gary, I humbly apologise for our MC tonight. Humbly apologise. Kay, I hope everything works out all right. And Josh, I'm just gonna book you that seat every week. No matter who comes on, Josh is gonna sit there front. I'll buy you drinks, right? That's just whatever happens. And what we're gonna do is, if you just can't breathe, I just need one arm up. We'll just get the ambos in. We'll sort that out straight away. Thank you very much. Look, I turned 50 earlier this year. I'm just really fucking sick of sandwiches for lunch. That's all I can say about that. Like, I'm old but not wise, you know. Like, I thought by now I'll be able to tell you why they put stickers on fruit. Can't. What are you doing, Woolworths? You know, we fucking hate you already. Don't make us eat a sticker. I thought I'd have more nuggets of wisdom to share, you know, but all I really got is that I know Channel 7 really wants the farmer to have a wife. Does he fucking need one, you know? Because I actually have one and fuck me, they're a lot of work. Especially after a couple of bottles of white wine, yeah, you know. Alright, so you're tired, emotional, and 3/4 cut. What a great time to have an emotional discussion. Yes, fucking bring it on, let's go. This is going to go well. I wasn't way too old for inspirational quotes. Instead of being inspired or motivated to do better, my initial reaction is just to say, don't fucking tell me what to do. Often audibly, you know. So for example, I was following Carl the other day, I had two bumper stickers, each one had an inspirational quote. The first one said, "Life's all about the journey, not the destination." Which is right, you know, if you've got access to adequate transport. But if you're like me and an old fifth-hand actually, poorly maintained car, and life is just a series of uncompleted journeys. You know, I never made my destination. Ironically, my most common journey was to an auto parts franchise, you know, to buy parts for this car. And I was almost always served by a post-pubescent boy sporting a pre-pubescent mustache, you know. The sort of thing that he was very proud of, but the sort of thing I thought should have got him on at least one, maybe more registers, you know. A bit later on, unchecked, that mustache was going to do something fucked, you know, completely fucked. And he was about as interested in helping me out, mate, make sure I had the right parts and make sure everything was okay as he would have been if I'd asked him to scrape dog shit off one of my shoes. Yeah. And that is a rewarding journey in customer service, so just remember that. And the next bumper sticker said, "Collect moments, not things." And I can tell you, when you own a fuck car, you collect a lot of moments. None of them good. I often use public transport when my car was broken down, and there's nothing quite like the moment when arriving at the train station to find out your express train is now a bus replacement service. Yeah. Your 45-minute door-to-door is now a 4.5-hour fucking odyssey, you know. Yeah, exactly, fuck that. Exactly, yeah. And this bus fills with people saying, fuck that. People that don't want to be there, you know. I lock eyes with an overly hairy, overweight man carrying a very large bag of one of the finest purveyors of fast food, you know, and he flops into the seat beside me, crushing me up against the window. And it's from this compressed position that I notice as he completes his 4th Big Mac and his 3rd McFlurry simultaneously. He farts audibly. A stench that invades my nasal passages, ironically like an express train. A smell that could really only be described as a desperate cry for help from his tortured insides, you know. Which will be a moment that's burnt into my memory till I die. That's right. So look, don't worry, some of you are relating to this, you know, maybe you've been in these situations as well. It's okay, the most important thing in life is journeys and moments. That's the best bit. Yeah, we'll go from there. I was telling a good mate this long and sordid story, and he just sort of exhaled, going, oh, fuck. Geez, Gary, can't you just try and be happy and not be such a sad cunt? And whilst it was harsh advice, I wanted to thank him. Yeah, so I went out and bought him a gift. Yeah, I bought him a thesaurus. Yeah. There's about 50 fucking ways he could have said that without being a prick. But I took his advice. I started to think about how I fit in the world, and I started to think about sort of how I fit in the universe. It's pretty deep, and I worked out pretty quickly that we're all made of stardust. Yeah, cosmic dust, yeah, born in the Big Bang about 13.8 billion years ago, and that dust has been compressed in some of the earliest stars, fused under immense heat and pressure to create the very first elements on the periodic table. Those elements have combined to create the very first single-celled organisms. Then over time, those single-celled organisms have evolved into multi-celled organisms. And they further evolved over many, many years to create what we have here tonight. Us, human beings. Multi-celled organisms with a consciousness. That means we can observe, think and reason. And therefore, we're investigating the cosmic dust from whence we came. That's right, I just said whence. Yes. You're welcome. It's taken me 5 years to get that into a comedy set, but I've done it. There we are. Awesome night. Value for money. Another way of putting it is that I'm cosmic dust standing on stage, having an existential crisis about being made of cosmic dust. Yeah, it's fucking deep, isn't it? It's pretty heavy. Yeah, I tell everyone I meet that. Yeah. You okay? Is everything right? Yeah, that's right. No worries. Let's get going. Because the punchline's coming. Just look up. Eyes up here. There we go. Yeah. No worries. Yeah. It's what I tell everyone. Yeah, no worries. Yeah. I tell everyone I meet that. Yeah. So a little bit more about me. You've been single for quite a while now. Yeah. I don't know why. Can't really tell. I don't know. I try very hard not to be though. Like I dress well, I try to be funny and articulate, but nothing, But without doubt, every time I go to Mingle Markets, there is always some underachieving, soap-avoiding, dreadlock dude playing didgeridoo, And right beside him is his yoga pant wearing, monosyllabic brekkie cone mate on bongos, And together, they're banging out some shit they have just made up. And their crowd, 6 deep, women, loving it, loving every moment of it, It appears, as far as I can tell, that these women are way more interested in two parental disappointments, private school educated parental disappointments, masquerading as musicians, than anyone else who might be eligible, They'd much rather get to know two blokes who manifest every tank of fuel for their clapped out combi, And don't pay for things with money. Thank you, Kate. Thank you very much, that's great. There's more to come. So they manifest every tank of fuel for their clapped out comedy. Yeah. Thank you. And they don't pay for things with money, no. But with good vibrations.
There's about 3 stickers there. Just there.
I do, thank you, yeah. But I don't like motivational stickers, so don't make them, otherwise I'll get really cranky. Yes, but look, it's okay. I'm listening, when the universe is yelling at me, 6 deep women at the thing. So I've made a few changes. Yeah, I bought myself some yoga pants. I learned to play ditch, and every brekkie's cones from now on. So I hope to be monosyllabic by mid next year. That's going to do it. I won't be single then. No worries. And look, when I first became single, my friends were pretty supportive, They said, oh, you'll be right, Gary, you'll be okay. You'll find someone, it'll be all right. I had some other friends who were like super supportive, they were great. They said stuff like, you're gonna fucking clean up, mate. Just fucking clean up. Woo, all right. And I can tell you, after quite a few years of being single, I have not cleaned up at all. In fact, I have cleaned up so little I can describe being single with 5 nouns and 1 analogy. And the first one is preparation. That's where you specifically go out to buy a packet of condoms because you want to be prepared to clean up. The next one's indecision. That's where you're standing in the store saying, do I buy the pack of 10 or the pack of 20? Optimism sees you arrive home with a packet of 20 condoms. A little while later, skepticism kicks in. You wonder when you get to use just one of these 20 condoms. Until finally pessimism takes you back to the store where you bought them, announcing quite loudly to a disinterested employee, I disagree, an unopened packet deserves a full refund. Yes. As I was raised a Catholic, I think that's why I'm single, I don't know, maybe. Anyway, we went to church every Sunday. Yeah, definitely went to church every Sunday. And look, I can say now, from this point in my life, that it's what made me really fucking critical of religion. Really. just a shocker, you know. And yeah, like I was pretty amazed right from a young age when people would say that God works in mysterious ways, you know, because they'd always say it after something significant, consequential had happened, you know, and that's a useless time to say that, you know. I think that saying's much more applicable to simple, humorous, everyday stuff, you know, because God works in mysterious ways is pretty much another way of saying God's fucking bored. And he's just entertaining themselves at our expense. You know? So for example, if you see a toddler completely refuse perfectly good food, but moments later be down eating dog biscuits out of a dog bowl, God works in mysterious ways. If you see a dog reject expensive, high quality food, you know, like for days, but then each day go out, find and eat another dog's shit, God works in mysterious ways. The ones who laugh the hardest have watched their own parents do that. Yeah. But for me, it's like when I meet someone new, you know, and they clearly and audibly introduce themselves, like saying their name, and 5 seconds later, it's fucking gone. Absolutely gone, you know. It's almost like God's up there going, oh wow, there's a woman talking to Gary, he's quite interested in her, and he's interested in her. Oh look, she's just introduced herself. Gone. There's me down on earth just dying on the inside, you know. And then finally she says, I'm like, oh, I've really enjoyed meeting you. It's been a wonderful conversation. So good to meet you, Gary. And I say something fucked like, it was wonderful to meet you too, mate. It's just fucked. And things aren't good, you know. Like I'm looking forward in life, you know. And I do that by saying, well, what are my parents like? Am I going to be like that? You know, that's what happens as you start to age. And look, Mum and Dad aren't as sharp as they used to be. I was speaking to them on the phone the other day, and sadly Dad's contracted COVID, but he's okay. We had to isolate in the home, and sitting there. So I was having a chat to him on the phone, and he goes, yeah, look, it's okay. I'm basically asymptomatic stuff. He goes, yeah, but look, I'm going to have a test every day. A test to do. He goes, yeah, I've got to have a pap smear test to sort that shit out. And I was just going, holy shit, Dad. I didn't have the heart to correct him, mainly because I was in a serious amount of shock. You know, I had a mental image of my dad getting a pap smear. So I was talking to my mum about 10 minutes later, and I was just about to say, hey, look, I think you might need to talk to Dad. He's a bit mixed up, you know. And then she goes on for a rant saying, yeah, because he's got COVID, I can't do anything, I got locked up in my room, blah, blah. I said, and I've got to have a pap smear every day too. Just oh, shit. So I got on that phone call going, I don't know if Mum and Dad have got COVID, but they're certainly going to know if they've got cervical cancer. For sure. Yes. I'm also old for self-serve checkouts, you know, too. Like they just trigger me. It's the voice thing about the crap. And I know that if I get triggered and get really angry, I can't explain it away. I'm a straight white middle-aged man, you know, I'm guilty, basically, straight away. So like, it's just a mess. Like the police report will be something like, today a man was arrested in a supermarket for allegedly assaulting a self-serve checkout. Witnesses say as the man was being led away from police, he continually yelled, "There's no item in the unexpected bagging area!" And then they'll charge me. I'll go to yeah. So I always queue up with someone on the checkout, you know. And I was behind an old Asian couple the other day, and they were having a conversation with the lady who was putting their groceries through, and she was Asian as well. And I listened for a little while. I was pretty sure it was Chinese, you know. How do I know? I've seen Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon twice. Once without the subtitles. I didn't know what the fuck's going on, but I saw it, you know. And so anyway, by the time I got to the checkout, the old couple was still sorting their bags out and everything. And I thought I'd be all cool and hip, you know. And I asked the lady who was at the counter there, I said, oh look, were you speaking Mandarin or Cantonese? And all three of them stopped and turned to me and said, no, we were speaking Hunan. And I just thought to myself, well done, Gary, you've overreached again, back in your box. But it was the next question that just absolutely floored me. The old lady said, do you speak Hunan, and would you like to have a conversation with us? What sort of blue sky thinking, dream big, make-a-wish foundation shit is that? Like, what is it about this picture? This freckle-faced, white bread-eating farm boy with a public school education with lamb chops and Vegemite in his basket says that I can speak a tonal language. Fuck, I'm lucky to pair jasmine rice with a stir-fry. let alone speak a complex tonal language. Sure, I grew up in a house where we spoke a tonal language, monotone. It's like every other Australian family, you know. No times Australians ever use tone is when they're emphasising a swear word. Get fucked. This is bullshit. And he is a wanker. That's it. It's the only time we ever do it, yeah. And look, I take responsibility. You know, I'm at an age there where I take responsibility for myself. This next sentence I think will probably say it. I was actively shopping in a homeware shop the other day. Yeah, that's right. That's probably the reason why I'm single. Yeah, that's right. Because there's nothing sexier than a straight white middle-aged man buying silicone bakeware. That's right. I was trying to decide between the medium pink and the aggressive puce colours for the trays, and I heard this kid just start to go off. Just crazy, you know, yelling and screaming and climbing up on stuff, knocking it over. It was chaos, you know, and those homeware shops are really crowded. The only thing I could tell is that the kid wasn't angry or distressed. They were obviously just playing fucking aggressively, you know. And there was no parent anywhere near taking any sort of responsibility for this. And then moments later I heard this voice behind me say, Serenity, darling, I hope you're making good choices. And I could tell from the tone of her voice, she hadn't even lifted her head up from what she was shopping with. And I was going, fuck. And then she just said, Serenity, remember, look inside your heart, the answer's there. Choose wisely, Serenity. And then the Serenity was choosing was to, have a whole lot of fun, you know. And pretending to be a pirate in a homeware shop was fucking fun. But only for Serenity. That's right, yeah. And at that moment, the only thing I could really hope for the most was that the woman behind me was as injured as the rest of us. Because no adult was getting out of that shop without a chef's knife through an arm or something like that, you know. And it was a bit later on that I thought, it sort of dawned on me, so what optimistic fool, you know, some moron names their child after a peaceful sensation. Kids are the antithesis of peace. Some of them are the devil incarnate, fucking Serenity, for example. You know, why don't we name kids the emotions and the feelings we have while we're raising them? That'd be a lot more accurate, you know, way more accurate. I'm just going to introduce you to my family. This is my eldest. This is Exhaustion. He's 11. Next we've got Chaos, who's 9. That's right. Just over here we've got a Huge Mistake. He's 5. And just down here at my feet, this is Oh Fuck. She's 2.5. Oh yes, sorry, I introduced you. Yes, my name's Failed Vasectomy. Pleased to meet you. There we go. Speaking of optimism, just a slight little tangent here. Public restroom, that's a pretty fucking optimistic term, isn't it? Yeah. Because restrooms essentially just another word for toilet, and public toilets are some of the most disgusting, stench-filled examples of what human beings can do when left in a small room alone. I don't know about you, but I don't even feel the need to linger, let alone attempt to rest inside one. For me, the whole process is like walking up to the threshold and wondering if my immune system is robust enough, and my sense of smell has been damaged enough to even go inside, let alone do a shit on the floor and smear it on the walls, you know, because apparently that's what you're supposed to do, as far as I can tell. So yeah. So as a result, I go to cafes. You know, I don't use public toilets. I use the toilets at cafes. And I was in a cafe the other day. Overheard a woman excitedly tell her friends that she got a surprise good haircut. And I tuned in. I thought, fuck, this is interesting. Here we go. And the very next sentence, she said she was stoked because it only cost $400. And that's at that point that I dry reached. That's right, yes, exactly. Yeah, dry reach. You know, and it just blew my mind, you know, like two parts of that. Like, made me think that the way I approach haircuts is very one-dimensional. Like, I'll just roll up to any old place, you know, and as I'm sitting in the chair, I just say, do your best, no product thanks, and $30 later, I've got less hair. You know, it's a very simple process, you know. But two things struck me about what she said, you know, like, first that she was happy, surprised that it was good, and stoked that it only cost $400. Like, that's impressive, you know. Like, spending that much on me for a haircut would be like putting a brand new paint job on a busted ass Commodore, you know. It looked great on the outside, but as soon as you poke inside, this one's very tired, very worn out. That's right. If I was actually to spend $400, like go all the way, I'd want everything done, like the whole lot, like inside and out, like the whole lot. Like I want my sense of self restored. Massively good haircut, obviously. Yeah. I want my negative thoughts eliminated, and I want a fucking amazing short-term memory. Because calling someone mate doesn't get you a date. Not at all. Does not get you a date at all. Yes. Just want to change tone a little bit, just go through. Was everyone okay if I tell a few wank jokes?
Oh, yeah.
No worries. I did say that during my fringe. I did say that during my fringe. And there was a bloke there going, only if you can pull it off. Which one, that's pretty good. Like I did say thank you very much. Can I use that? He said, yeah, you can use it. So I did. There we go. Look, I got called a wanker the other day by a motorist purely for riding my bike on a road, but within a bike lane. And whilst the motorist wanted to belittle me and isolate me, and really sort of make me feel sort of bad, he didn't at all. In fact, I felt the opposite. Because when you think about it, we all wank. So we started when we were teenagers. And we've been practicing ever since. Some of us practicing furiously, I might add. So in this culturally complicated, religiously divided, gender fluid world we live in, calling someone a wanker is quite possibly the most inclusive term you can use. So from me up on stage to you, the audience, thank you very much for coming out tonight, you complete pack of wankers. And when I say motorist, I mean bus driver. He's a fucking bus driver. He fucking meant it too. He had to match my speed, open his door, yell out, wanker! Like in front of all the school kids. Like, they thought it was hilarious. They did. I'm now known as that wanker cyclist in 8 schools around Darwin. And it wasn't the fact that he called me a wanker as a problem, it was the fact that it was a bus driver. Like, what's happened to them? Like when I was growing up, they were happy old men, but now it's almost as if this predictable combination of regret, frustration and all over physical pain, all wrapped up inside a recently retired man who's had to return to the workforce because his wife's yet to retire and he's not allowed to mope around the house all day, sort of got angry, Like a man who in the short time driving a bus has seen more traffic infringements than I've had hot dinners. And as a result, is only one minor traffic misdemeanor away from letting his bus full of school kids do all the talking at the next intersection. And who would have thought, taking this man whose patience and tolerance has been pushed to the very limit by an overly woke and virtuous society, and then parading in front of him twice daily some of the most narcissistic, self-absorbed leaders of tomorrow in their school uniforms, would do anything but produce a positive, upbeat, can-do attitude, One that would never even dream of yelling at a cyclist. So what that tells me is that bus drivers are on the edge. It's up to us to look after them. We've got to help them out. So next time you see a bus driver, call him a wanker. He just wants to feel included. He really wants to feel included, So anyone here ever found themselves with some free time at work and then as a result of that decide to use that free time to have a wank? Oh, me neither, yeah. It's only because I've never had a job that exciting, that's the only reason, yeah. But I did read a story recently about a young fella. Thanks. Thanks, Gary. Thanks very much. In your box. Just jot it down and then chat to Kay later on. Is that okay? Yeah, no worries. I'm glad you're enjoying it. That's super. I did read a story recently about a young fella who lost his job because he was having a wank at work. And it wasn't because one of his colleagues walked in on him, no. No, he decided to film himself having a wank and post it to the internet. Woo-hoo! Yeah! What a proud parenting moment that must have been for his mum and dad. Wow, that would have been good, wouldn't it? Yeah. It's impressive. And look, when you hear a story like this, it's never a woman, is it? No, it's always a bloke. It's always a bloke. Just proving that the average bloke's decision-making process is idea, action. They just completely skip the thinking part. Why would you bother? Just fucking do it. You're right, yeah. I hope that you are as fascinated in how this could possibly have come about as I am. Otherwise, the next 2 minutes might be a little bit dull. A little bit of background. There's absolutely no way that your job description includes the word wank or masturbate or self-love unless you work in the sex industry. And also there's a very good reason why 99.9% of us wank at home, like private, all by ourselves, because whilst it feels really good, there's nothing to see. There's nothing to see. And nothing that a HD camera is going to make look any better. That's right. So let's just go through a couple of the steps that our mouth-breathing genius, let's just call him Nathan for the purposes of this joke, went through to not only find himself unemployed, but unemployable. So Nathan finds himself with some free time at work, and instead of going for the classic, I might get something to drink or something to eat, he thinks, oh no, hang on, I might have a wank at work. Now I know, it's okay, we all have crazy thoughts, you know, but it's our job to keep the crazy thoughts locked up inside the fucked up part of our brains with all the other crazy thoughts. Thoughts such as, of course you should punch that baby. And oh look, there's a police car with the door open. Let's steal it. Having a wank at work, lock it up here. Better as a thought. Much better as a thought, yeah. Now Nathan then progresses on and then at some point pre-wank decides, hang on a second, I can't let this amazing moment pass by. Better film it. And sets up a camera to film himself. Little tip from the top. If you decide to set up a camera to film yourself and you're either naked or all of your genitalia is showing, review that decision. And then review that decision again and again and again and again and again until you come up with the only answer. And the only answer is not to film yourself, that's right. And then third, post-wank, I can only assume that all the blood's return to the appropriate parts of the body and Nathan's thinking is a little less disinhibited, you know. He decides, hang on a second, no worries, better not keep this to myself, better share it with the world and then post it online. Good on you, Nathan. It's fantastic, isn't it? And look, I'm a parent, you know, I just feel really sad when I hear that story. Because if I had a moment, I would have sat down with Nathan and just said, Nathan, there are much easier ways to quit your job, mate. Just don't. You don't have to do that. You don't have to do that, it's all right. And look, yeah, I'm a parent as well. I worry for Nathan, but also worry for my own kids, you know, because I didn't realise that when I became a parent, that kids have one job in life, and that is to humbug the fuck out of their parents, you know. And they do it relentlessly, you know. If they had their choice, they would humbug them to death, you know, like you'd just be on the ground. And they humbug you over stupid shit, like stupid shit, you know. Like my two were desperate for ice cream for breakfast for about 2 years, you know. And the only way that's a good idea is if you're aiming for daily dialysis by age 13. Otherwise, fucking bad idea. And the only way to combat humbug is to have firm, consistent boundaries. And the only way to hold those boundaries is to remain calm. And I'm fucking not calm. Not calm at all when someone's humbugging me. And so I did something quite drastic. It's not quite different. I took up axe throwing to try and calm myself down. Does everyone know axe throwing? You know, 5 little axes, you throw them in quick succession at a target. And look, I was skeptical, but fuck me, calm. So calm. Amazingly calm. Like even when they're humbugging me, I'm super calm, yeah. So I took notice, and I noticed that I'm actually the calmest just after I've thrown the axe, and I watch it fly through the air, and I see it miss one of their heads. So, that's when I'm my calmest, you know. And look, double win for our house. Like I'm calm, and each time I throw an axe, that humbug just really drops really quickly. Like you might think this is a bit harsh, you know. You might, and you're going, oh Gary, that's pretty harsh. Well, look, I've got some evidence here. I just want to share it with you. This is a letter that a 10-year-old boy wrote to his mum to let her know that he was going down the shops. And one thing about kids is they'll fucking hurt you whenever they feel like it. So, dear mum, I am sorry you are a fat gorilla with a fucked up brain, heart and body. Yours who is going to the shops now, bye. Yeah. So all the mum did was just reinforce a reasonable boundary during the course of the day, and he got a little bit angry. Yeah. It starts off well. Dear mum, I'm sorry, but no, fucking kicks it up there, doesn't he? He's even corrected fucked, just in case you don't know. It's the case, yeah. And he's gone for the trifecta. He's attacked the intellectual, the emotional, and the physical component of his mum. It's like a real bang. Now some of you might be thinking, look, there's got to be a cause, Gary. Is there a cause? Is it like exposure to violent computer games? It could be. Is it exposure to media and social media? Look, it could be that as well. Could it be diet? Maybe it is diet. But research has actually since proven that the root cause of kids being fucked like this to their parents is all linked back to their parents' decision to have little fuckers in the first place. So, that's exactly right. Yes, there we go. And look, I think a lot more about family, you know, now that I'm a parent. And I found out that 3 of my cousins have autism recently. It was pretty good. Yeah, it's great. Like, the type of autism they have, one of the main symptoms is the fact that they really struggle in social situations. They can't pick up what's happening in a conversation. They get really anxious, and as a result, then they just blurt out some response, you know. It's factually correct, but completely inappropriate. You know?
I've got that.
It did? Oh, great. Fantastic. But that was appropriate, so you don't have it. There we go. And yeah, look, I see. It's good to know it's autism because I actually just thought that those three cousins were really fucked at conversations, but no, it turns out it's autism, so that's good. So, for example, we're at a big family gathering today, and my cousin just starts, goes, in Australia, like a third of all marriages end in divorce in the first 7 years. You know, like I'm not saying yours will, but I'm just saying that anyone who enters into the complicated, difficult, and ultimately doomed state of holy matrimony is aware of this fact and adjusts their expectations accordingly. Like factually correct, you know. But odds on, not the best thing to say during a bride's speech at the wedding. Yeah, especially not when the bride's your sister. You know. Yeah, that's right. So look, what they don't tell you about autism is it makes family gatherings really fucking awkward. So yeah, that's right. And I was on my way home from that, flying home, and I came back through Sydney Airport, and I came across this pretty impressive sign. Some of you might have seen this as well too. For an animal assistance facility, like a toilet for assistance animals. And look, I thought assistance animals guide dogs, but no, according to Sydney Airport, the pool is much wider than that, isn't it? Because if you're a man, the most likely guide animal you're going to have assistance animal is going to be a koala. If you're a woman, it's a Scotch Terrier. But if you're transitioning... It's a kangaroo. It's a kangaroo as tall as... Yes, Kay, it is. Yeah, I love the way this is Q&A. Yes, it is. That is for real, Kay.
At
Sydney Airport, yeah.
It's got braille underneath.
And it's in braille.
Correct, yeah, that's right. So even those who are vision impaired know exactly what animal they can take inside them. Yeah. Exactly. Great to have you here, Gary. How much assistance does the man get from an animal that's drunk on eucalyptus and sleeps for 22 hours? What do you reckon? Surely the man is assisting the koala, isn't he? Yeah. And then it dawned on me, 95% of people who go to airports are getting on a plane. Imagine sitting next to an assistance koala on your red-eye to Darwin. Fuck, that'd be like being like beside your pissed uncle at Christmas. You know? You'd be snoring away in the chair and then just wake up with a start. Oh fuck! What? No, give me a drink. No, you can't prove anything. Oh fuck! What? Be bad, you know. But my main quest in life, the thing that I'm really hoping for, is to travel as often as possible, so I can watch 2, 3, 4. Look, I don't know how many flight attendants it's going to take to wrap a seatbelt around a 6-foot kangaroo. And to get them to keep the armrest down and the tray table up the entire time. So yeah, that's all right. Oh, it's a beautiful thing, isn't it? And yeah, look, I think I was going to say, yeah. Should we keep going? Yeah, I think we should keep going.
Keep going.
Yeah, no. It's the. What I tried to do was I tried to pause there without you knowing, but of course I fucked this right up. But that's okay.
Read your notes. Read your notes.
Well, you know, the notes are there, but they're just a guide. They're just a guide as to where to go. And because you're so involved, Gary, I don't want to disappoint you. I don't want to disappoint you. Yeah. Yeah, look, there's a few things I'm not proud of. Done a few things I'm not proud of. Yeah, I've pushed pretty hard on a door that said pull. Yeah. Quite a few times in front of some people, you know, yeah. And that got pretty bad, you know, because we're all heading into the same part of the building. Yeah. But it got much fucking worse about 20 minutes later when I found myself across the table from them in that meeting. Yeah. Worst job interview fucking ever. That's right. Didn't get that job. But it makes me think quite differently about how embarrassment changes as we age, you know. Because when we're young, we're embarrassed about the things that we have done. Whereas as we get old, we're embarrassed about the things that we haven't done, you know. So for example, the entire medical profession is really worried about the youth because they're not getting sexual health checks done. And the youth say they're not doing it because it's way too embarrassing to talk to their GP about sexual activity. Now I get that. That's going to be quite embarrassing. But I can assure the youth here today, right now, that it's nowhere near as embarrassing as later on in life sitting in an appointment with your GP and being able to categorically and fundamentally assure them there's no need for a sexual health check. Because there's been no fucking action for quite some time. Quite embarrassing. Quite embarrassing, yes. And look, I'm embarrassed about being on Facebook, you know. Like I don't know, I joined it because I thought it would be a wonderful source of considered opinion on contemporary topics, but it's not, is it? No, it's not that at all. It's just full of stupid people. How do I know? Facebook wants me to be friends with every single fucking one of them. That's right. Be friends with Wayne. Wayne's got motivational quotes as stickers on his car. Be friends with Wayne. He's cool. Be friends with Nathan. Nathan, he's between jobs at the moment, but he's a good kid. Just be friends with Nathan. That friend suggestion algorithm on Facebook is like someone you know at work who's incredibly optimistic, but an appalling judge of character. That's just the way it goes, you know. And Facebook wants me to be friends with a bloke called Mick at the moment. And look, I'll describe his profile picture and you tell me what you think. So Mick's a middle-aged man, he's got a bit of a beer gut, you know, he's wearing a See You in the NT singlet. And his profile picture is of him lighting his own fart. And in the background is a bloke in full high vis giving the double thumbs up. Now, I don't know, I could be a bit judgmental here, but I don't think Mick's involved in any philosophical conversations. I don't think Mick's part of the team curing cancer by any stretch of the imagination. And what Facebook doesn't know is I've already met Mick. Yeah, it's the way Darwin works, you know. We friend of a friend, met him in a pub, and Mick's hard to miss because he's pretty loud, you know. He's wearing the See You in the NT singlet. Yeah, it was a different colour. I think he owns a few. Yeah, he's got quite a loud laugh, Mick. It's a lot like a machine gun. And worst thing for all of us is Mick finds a lot of things funny. So that's pretty hard work. And Mick's a bourbon drinker. Loves a bourbon. Get us bourbon? Fuck, I can murder a bourbon now. Jeez, I'll fucking murder a bourbon. If you hear someone say that, then understand that bourbon is not the only thing they have seriously considered murder. And on a cruel twist of irony, the only thing they haven't considered, which they have been murdering their entire speaking life, is the English language. Right. For Mick and his bourbon drinking brethren, the decision to drink bourbon is just mere consequence that they'll use their few remaining brain cells in a series of appalling decisions. Your average fuckwits choose your own adventure, if you will. Which will no doubt be told in excruciating detail about a month later in their local magistrate's court. And as Mick and his bourbon-drinking brethren appear, you know, with their thin black leather tie in front of their borrowed white button-up shirt, because who the fuck owns one of those, you know? Their appalling mullet covering the entire collar, you know, and their wraparound sunnies perched up on top of their head. They cut a beautiful figure, you know. And as they rise to deliver a contrived, unbelievable, and possibly heartless apology to a visibly tired courtroom, you know, at the centre is a judge, a magistrate, just thinking, is today the day I bring back capital punishment? All thanks to Jim Beam. All thanks to Jim Beam. It's beautiful, isn't it? But I suppose the million-dollar question you're all wondering is, did I add Mick as a friend on Facebook? Of course I did. Of course I did. Because when they're not in jail, bourbon drinkers are the life of the party. And Facebook knows that for sure. Yeah. Yeah. I also wish people would tell the truth. You know, it's controversial. I know we'd all go through a bit of pain, but I think it'd be much better if everyone did. I wouldn't be suffering from what I'm suffering from now, which is called the apathy of reality. The apathy of reality is when someone describes something to you as being amazing, fantastic, and just brilliant, and very soon after you find out it's way shitter than the way they describe it. Like, it could be a television show. Yeah, nah, maths, same. Maths is my favourite too. Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Could be a holiday destination. Wow, that much fun in Cuda. I literally can't believe it either. It could even be the evening meal, you know, because if you believe any one of the myriad of cooking shows on the food networks we have, you'll believe that every evening meal is spectacular. Just brilliant, you know. Made up of probably, I don't know, the loin of some animal that's spent its life in a grazing utopia, you know, being massaged twice daily, you know. And it knowingly gives that loin to a hipster chef with a man bun and an overly coiffed moustache, you know. And he carries that loin and then combines it with heirloom vegetables and hand-stroked herbs that he's collected in a cane basket from a market garden beside his restaurant, you know. And he combines these ingredients in a meal, and as he does so, he waxes lyrically about we should only ever eat food that we grow ourselves, you know. And then he eventually serves this food, you know, a very small amount of food on a very large plate. And as he does, he says, the most important ingredient in this meal is that I made it with love. What a fucking tool. Fucking tool, but like, so unrealistic. Like, that's not reality for any of us, is it? You know, like, we're lucky to have clean dishes in the house, let alone heirloom vegetables in a crisper. Fucking hell. Like, I got home one day from work the other day, particularly bad time, you know, and there wasn't a clean dish in the house. Like, clearly I hadn't thrown enough axes at the fucking kids, you know. And then as I worked my way around the kitchen from fridge to freezer to cupboard, trying to work out what to have for dinner, lowering my standard as I went, I finally came across the cereal box, you know, and I picked it up and I realised there was just enough in it. So I put it on the bench and thought, if I cut 3/4 of the top of this box off, what's left will hold cereal and milk. And so I called the kids in, I grabbed some spoons out and I said, bon appetit, dinner is served, you know. And that, as far as I'm concerned, is a meal made with love. That's right. Yes, also, it's interesting, I don't get a lot of visitors these days, yeah, but the Mormons come and visit me, that's quite nice. They come every 6 months, it's great, yeah, very nice, yeah. The last visit I got was mid-November, it was a Saturday afternoon. It was fucking hot, and these two boys turned up on my doorstep, you know, no hat, no water bottle, but a very big name badge, you know, Kyle and Brandon, and they were from Utah. As I opened the door, they said in unison, "We're here to tell you about the word of the Lord." I said, "Great." I said, "Does that word include anything about hydration or hats?" And they said, "What?" I said, "Well, you better come in for a cold drink of water, because if I send you back out, you're going to die." So anyway, brought them in, gave them a drink of water, and then I did the one thing they didn't expect. I started asking them questions about their faith, which I found quite good fun. The first thing I said is, look, when God judges you when you die, how does he know? And they said, "Oh, look, God sees everything, that's fine." And I said, "What, everything? Everyone, everything?" They said, yes, God sees everything. And I straight away thought, there's 8 billion people on this planet. That's a lot of unnecessary shit to see, isn't it? It's a huge amount. Like, that's a whole lot of inane conversations. That's a lot of people picking their nose at work, you know? It's a lot of gastro. You don't need, like, I don't even want to deal with my own gastro, let alone seeing everyone else's gastro, you know? And so I said to them, I'm fascinated by this. Like, I would like to ask God some questions, you know? And they said, "Yeah, go ahead." And I said, "Look, if God sees everything, like, does God tune out when a vegan starts speaking too? Like we do? Like, just how annoying does God find jazz music, you know? And if God's seen every single episode, then which one is his favourite episode of reality TV, you know? Because God's seen them all, you know, and they look quite confused. And I said, look, okay, well, imagine God, you know, God exists up there in heaven, you know, the one who created the earth, you know, every living thing on it, including all of the complex systems that support life. Does that God enjoy maths or Farmer Wants a Wife better? Which one is it?" And they still looked a bit confused. I said, "Okay, well, look, the entity, you know, who lives in heaven, you know, God, floating around in a knee-high fog of pure bliss, you know, experiencing pleasures that we could possibly only imagine. You know, probably, I don't know, the equivalent of orgasming hourly, you know, each one better than the last." And they blushed a fair bit. And I thought, oh, well, fuck, I better push through this, you know. I said, "Does that God enjoy watching a primary producer who has struggled to meet women so far now be mentally and emotionally crushed under the weight of having 5 of them in his own house simultaneously fighting over him? And then watch him actually cry as the producer pushes in a 6th, you know. A situation that a well-seasoned gigolo would really struggle to cope with." I said, does God watch that, you know? Does he do that? And they still look confused, and I thought, right, I'll have to go again. I said, so does God, the person who not only understands the universe, you know, all the stars and the galaxies and everything, but was the one to create it, does that God enjoy the character development of Shaniqua Jane on Love Island? Like, marvelling at how she could be simultaneously courted by Zane and Jackson at the same time. And that's Jackson with a double X, you know. 2 buff, tattooed gym junkies, you know, with incredibly white teeth, you know, proof that the human body can quite happily live without a functioning brain cell, you know. And then marvel on the oncoming episodes at how this amazing love story will evolve. Does God really enjoy that? Do they take time out to do that? I said, or does God really, did he just get to, like, he, she, whoever they are, do they get to the very first episode of reality TV, see it and say, fuck this, I'm out, you cunts are clearly cooked. I would much rather watch Nathan have a wank at work than watch any more reality TV. And they still looked a bit confused, so I thought, look, I can't let him go, I've got to ask him another question. So I said, look, what does God want us to do? How does he want us to react to homeless people? And they said, what? And I said, well, look, about 18 months ago I was down in Adelaide, you know, and I had this pretty serious situation. I was really taken by how many homeless people there were. And I walked past the very first homeless person and started this incredible internal debate about should I or shouldn't I give them money? Because if I give them money, then they'll just use it for the things to buy the things that got them into homelessness in the first place. And if I don't, what will they eat? Where will they sleep? How will they possibly drag themselves out of this terrible state of being homeless, you know? And this debate was fueled by this growing empathy, you know. And as I was walking along, I watched this bloke walk past the homeless guy and turn around and go back. About 10 paces. He pulled $10 out of his pocket and he handed it to the homeless guy and they had this beautiful chat, smile and a bit of a laugh, and it was just a beautiful positive moment in amongst all of this terrible homelessness, you know. And that should have been good, but it wasn't good. It just made my internal debate go into overdrive, fueled by this incredible uncontrolled empathy. You know, by the end of the day, I got back to my motel room and I was in a massive fucking state. You know, this internal debate had externalised, but the thoughts were going too fast from my mouth. So it was just incoherent dribble coming out of my mouth. My head was wobbling, I was pointing, and I was pacing backwards and forward. I looked like a advanced Parkinson's sufferer debating in a foreign language, you know. And I had one lucid moment in amongst it, and I thought, I've got to physically do something about this. So I left my hotel room, and I went out, and I found the nearest homeless person I could. And as I approached them, I took $50 out of my wallet, and I went to hand it to them. And at that point, the uncontrolled empathy just poured out of me, and this dribble just went straight, and I just talked at this person, incoherent noise, for about a minute, you know. Finally, after that minute, I got myself together, and I sort of stopped and slowed, and he slowly raised his hand up to look at me. Not with a smile, but a half confused, half pissed off look on his face. And he took the $50 and he said, look mate, severe mental illness is my thing, so how about you just back the fuck off, all right? And I did indeed, from that point on, back the fuck off, you know. But from then on, I had to give $50 to every single homeless person I saw to keep my uncontrolled empathy in check. And it was on the second last day that I was in Adelaide that I realised that I was actually only 2 homeless people away from being homeless myself. And it's at that point in time that I realised that it's not alcoholism or drug addiction or even severe mental illness that causes homelessness. No, it's uncontrolled empathy and way too many ATMs. That's right. Yeah. I'm just going to leave you with a quick thought, and that is, I told you earlier on that I certainly can't do inspirational quotes. Well, I can do one type of inspirational quote, and that is the inspirational quote tattoo. I love those, they're so good. They're quite often in a cursive font, and they're quite often on a part of the body you can see, and they say amazing things like believe, trust in yourself, regret nothing, like just beautiful things. When they're spelled properly, they say that. That's right. And funnily enough, like regret's such an important part of life. You know, like life's full of regret. You know, what regret does is it teaches us not to make that mistake again. You know, and funnily enough, for most people, the top of their regret list is getting a really shit tattoo. So there we go. My name's Gary O'Sullivan. You've been an amazing audience. Thank you very much.
Was that fucking stole? Give him a big round of applause. Did you guys have fun?